There are so many YouTube videos and podcast episodes out there about YouTube, how to start your YouTube channel, how to monetize your YouTube channel, and what is going to be different about this podcast episode from anything you've listened to thus far is simply that I am going to share with you how I started and grew a profitable YouTube channel that honestly changed my and my family's life while teaching full-time, while simultaneously working on my other side hustle, which was reselling, how I was able to fit a YouTube channel into the margins of my life. This is Rich Teachers with Becky Park. I started my YouTube channel in 2019. It was something that had been on my mind for a while because while teaching, I had started a side hustle selling other people's used clothing, shoes, and accessories online on reselling platforms like Poshmark, eBay, Mercari. My last podcast episode was about just that, reselling. So if you want to learn more about what that looked like, definitely check out that episode. And I'll have it linked down in the show notes and in the description. And as I dove into all of the information I could find about reselling on YouTube and on Instagram, I thought to myself, man, there just aren't a lot of people who look like me in this space talking about reselling. And yes, I meant like people who were Asian, because in case you're just listening to me wherever you listen to podcasts, you can't tell, but I am Asian. If you're watching on YouTube, you can clearly see that. So yes, I'm talking about people who are Asian, but I was also talking about people who were reselling part-time, people who were not doing this with the intention of, reselling being the only source of income. I wanted to share what it was like to have a full-time job and also start reselling. And so in 2019, with the help of a friend who really kind of bullied me into getting started before I felt ready, I decided to start my YouTube channel. And so in today's podcast episode, what I want to share with you is how to monetize your channel regardless of what it's about and what my monetization journey looked like, because that is the point, right, of why you're listening to this, is you're trying to figure out how can I make more money on the side while teaching to supplement my teaching income. And while having a YouTube channel, even if you aren't making money, is pretty fun, and there are a lot of benefits and pros to it, it kind of defeats the purpose of taking it on as a side hustle if it's only taking your time and not bringing in more income for you and your family. I will say that one of the cons to starting a YouTube channel compared to something like reselling is that there is a time investment that you have to put in before earning any income. Unlike with reselling, I guess there's a little bit of time investment. You list your first item and maybe you don't sell it for a few weeks or a few months or something. But YouTube can be a fairly long time investment before you get monetized, before you start earning any money for all of the time that you're putting into it. With my particular YouTube timeline, it actually took me a lot faster than it took other people. I believe that from the time I uploaded my first video to the time that I got that exciting email from Google AdSense saying, hey, you've hit your requirements, we're now gonna start paying you for your content, I think it took me about 6 months. It could have been, I don't know why, I have the number 4 months in my head too, but I think it was around half a year. And the truth is, compared to what a lot of other YouTubers experience, that was a pretty short amount of time. I know a lot of YouTubers in the same space when I'm talking about reselling. I know a lot of YouTubers who have been at it for a few years and they still aren't monetized. On the flip side, I know people who got monetized within a month, and a lot of it has to do with the topic that your YouTube channel is about. It has to do with your consistency, with how many videos you're uploading. And we're going to get into all of that, throughout the podcast. But for me, it took me, let's say 4 to 6 months. Now, I do think I had a little bit of an advantage, and that was I had an Instagram account with about 6,000 to 8,000 followers who were already following me for my content on reselling. And so there were a decent number of people who came over from Instagram to YouTube, because YouTube was basically me offering longer forms of content that people had already grown to enjoy on Instagram. Now they got more of me on YouTube. I would say that in that first few weeks of making the jump over to YouTube, I think only maybe like 100 to 300 people from Instagram followed me over there. I do think more people started following me over onto YouTube once they saw that I was consistent with it and once they saw that I was offering helpful information over there. But at the beginning, I thought I would get 1,000 to 2,000 followers from Instagram to jump over to YouTube right away, and that didn't happen. But I will admit I did have a little bit of a following, a little bit of name recognition within the world of reselling to begin with, because that's what my YouTube channel was going to be about, was reselling. So to just give you a few stats, I started my YouTube channel in 2019. I got monetized, like I said, within 4 to 6 months. And we are now in April of 2025, and I now have a little over 65,000 subscribers, and that number continues to grow. I make an average of around $2,000 a month through Google AdSense. Google actually owns YouTube, and so when you get a payout from YouTube, it's actually from Google, and the way that you get paid is through the ads that you can put within your YouTube videos or the ads that show before and after your videos. And based on how much of your ads people watch, how much different companies and businesses are willing to pay to put ads in your videos, all of that is what determines how much Google is willing to pay you, and you get paid out once a month. So for those monthly payouts, like I said, I'm averaging about $2,000-ish. Some months I do a lot more, like some months I'll hit 3,000, some months I do less, and it solely depends on how many videos I am uploading and how many views those videos get. So if for whatever reason I have a video that just takes off for me and does better than my average, on average I probably get around like 3,000 to 5,000 views per video over the span of a month or so. But if I get a video that just takes off and gets around 50 to 75,000 views, typically that means I'm going to see a lot more revenue for that month because I have a video that is pulling larger numbers for me. And I would say that even though my number of subscribers have gone up steadily, I would say that my average income from YouTube has been pretty steady for the past 3 to 4 years. And I think it's because I've been pretty steady with the amount of content that I've been publishing. In fact, I would say I've probably been pulling back a little bit just because of the demands of my life. I just don't have as much time to upload as much YouTube content as I did, when I first started on YouTube. That being said, it has proven to be a very reliable source of side income. But I think what shocked me the most, and I think the reason why I always encourage teachers who are looking for a side hustle to get into YouTube, is because YouTube opens up the door for not just income that you can earn from YouTube and Google AdSense, but it opens the door to things like sponsored videos. It opens, the door to brand deals. But what has been the most lucrative for me, and we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about this in today's podcast because I'm going to dedicate an entire episode on this later. What has been the most lucrative for me has been affiliate marketing. And affiliate marketing would never be an option for someone like me if I didn't have the audience that I have now because of the platform of YouTube. Because I am able to speak on a weekly basis, sometimes 2 to 3 times a week, to all 65,000 of my subscribers, which, let's be honest, even though it says 65,000 people are not tuning into my videos every week. That is 65,000 subscribers that I have accumulated since the first day of starting my YouTube channel. And some of those people were like friends and family that just hit subscribe because I asked them to, because I was trying to get to a certain number so I could get monetized. But I am able to get in front of thousands of people every week and share about my journey as a reseller, but also share about any products that I use, any software that I use, trying to speak about those things as authentically and honestly as possible. But these different companies value the fact that I have an audience that trusts me and tunes into me week after week. And therefore, they can either pay me for essentially an ad spot within my video, not like a YouTube ad, but me talking about the product. They can pay me for that, or I can get paid every time someone purchases an item from this company or every time someone signs up for a service from said company. And it has been a lucrative form of income for me and my family that just simply would not have been possible had it not been for the start of my YouTube channel. So now that you know where I'm at right now with my YouTube channel, let's talk a little bit about why I think you as a teacher should start a YouTube channel, as well as what some of the cons are. Because let's be honest, there are definitely some things about starting a YouTube channel that are very challenging and difficult. I am actually working right now with a colleague of mine, someone who teaches in my building, and she's been asking me for years now how I make the side income that I make. And I tell her, I have multiple streams of income, but the first thing I'm going to point people towards is YouTube, especially when they're teachers. And the reason for that is because as teachers, we already know how to present information. That is our literal job. Our literal job is to get in front of children who maybe don't care about the information that we are presenting, but we have to shove it down their throats anyway and hope to God that they are retaining that information. And in order to survive as a teacher, we have to find ways to present the information that we have been tasked with teaching our children by being as engaging as possible, by being as interesting as possible. And because teachers already have those skills, I think that they are so good when they get in front of the camera and present whatever information it is that they want to present. Not only that, but teachers are also really good at scaffolding information. They're really good at scope and sequence. Like, they're just good at doing the things that they need to do in order for people to understand information. Sometimes really dense, difficult to understand information. It is our job to help students learn that information as easily as possible. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're probably going to be like, how come now you have glasses? Because I thought I could film this without putting my glasses on, but I have the world's biggest headache now. And it's because everything has been blurry for the last 14 minutes. So that's why they're on. Now, when it comes to finding success on YouTube, one of the biggest tenets, I believe, is consistency. Showing up week after week for your audience. And consistency is something that I think teachers learn, even if it's not something that they maybe naturally are very good at. It's something that they learn if they're going to be a good teacher, because you need to have consistency with your students. You need to have consistency with the routines that you've built in place in your classroom. There's a consistency throughout the week of just how things work in your class. If you're an elementary school teacher, there's the consistency of on Tuesdays we go to art and on Thursdays we go to whatever. There's like that consistent schedule. There's the consistency of different units throughout the year, and every 100 days you have this party, and there's just a set schedule that comes with the territory of teaching. There's a set schedule for your day, for your week, for your month, for your year, and it's something that just kind of becomes ingrained in teachers, and that's something that you need for YouTube. You need to be consistent in building out a schedule for yourself of when is it that you're going to film, when is it that you're going to edit, and when is it that you're going to upload your videos. Being consistent, just like when we're consistent with our students, it helps our audience know what to expect of us, when to expect us on their screens, and that's one of the basic tenets of having a successful YouTube channel. It's hard to find success if you upload 5 videos one week, take a month off, upload a video, take 2 weeks off, upload 2 videos, and the videos are about the most random things. It's hard to find success on YouTube without consistency, but consistency is something that teachers are already pretty good at. Another tenet, I think, of having a successful YouTube channel is being disciplined, which goes along with consistency, but it's the discipline of doing things even when they're hard. And I think we as teachers do that day in, day out. We show up knowing that some days are going to be impossibly hard. We're going to have students that talk back to us. We're going to have administrators breathing down our necks. There are just things that are difficult to do, but we continue to show up anyway because we're disciplined. I think another reason why I'm always encouraging other teachers, especially, the ones that I work with and that I care about because I have a relationship with them, I'm always encouraging them to start YouTube channels because not only do I know that they're good at explaining things, not only do I know that they have the discipline and the consistency to keep showing up because it's just a part of even, their job, but it's also because I feel like it's really good for teachers to have outlets outside of just teaching. Teaching is great, and I think it does feed my soul. I love the relationships that I have with my students, but I also feel like I am a better teacher because teaching is not all that I do. I have a very full life outside of teaching, and that's important to me because that means even if things are not going well at work, who I am as a teacher does not make up 100% of my identity. And so even if there is a situation happening at work, and this has happened many times, I've had conflict with coworkers, I've had conflict with students or with parents. I've had this weird tension with administrators. Even if that stuff is happening, when I come home, I'm able to leave that part of who I am behind. I'm able to leave those problems at school because when I come home, I have other things to deal with. I have my family that I get to spend time with. I have my YouTube channel that I get to create content for. I have my reselling business that I get to pour into because the more I pour into it, the more income I'm going to make from it. And there are all of these other facets of my life that complete the bigger picture of who I am. And I think that that's healthy because otherwise there's too much of ourselves wrapped into what happens at school. And if what's happening at school isn't good, then it's pretty tough for us as human beings. It's tough for our mental health. It's tough for our self-esteem. And what I have found with YouTube is it's been really cool to build this audience and just this space out for myself that has nothing to do with teaching, but where I get to nerd out over my other passions. Because I guess I could talk about reselling at school if I wanted. And the truth is some of my students do want to talk to me about reselling. They're all about Depop. They're all about, thrifting and all that kind of stuff. And it's actually kind of interesting to them. But on YouTube, I get to nerd out about reselling with an audience of people who are just as passionate about reselling as I am. And that's really fun. It's really interesting. And it's separate from what I do at work, which is really, really important. And so for all of those reasons, I think that teachers make great YouTube content creators. But let's take a moment to talk about some of the challenges that come with YouTube, some of the reasons why people are so hesitant to step into content creation in the first place. And I get it. But along with presenting some of the hurdles with starting and maintaining a YouTube channel, I am going to kind of problem solve through some of those things with you. And at the end, we'll talk about, what does it take to monetize a YouTube channel? And what would I recommend as far as a formula is concerned to get your YouTube channel monetized in a year? So let's start by talking about some of these challenges. One of the challenges is people say, I don't even know how to start. I don't know what equipment I need. I don't know how to upload content onto YouTube. I don't know how to do any of that. And I can understand that for some people, that is just such a huge hurdle because the amount that you don't know is overwhelming. The good news is there is so much free information about how to do all of those things and then some on YouTube. Before I started my YouTube channel, I think I spent a solid year just consuming content about how to YouTube. And the reason for that is because I just kind of knew in the back of my mind that YouTube was probably something that I was going to do. And so for a solid year, I was consuming content by content creators like Think Media. The person who runs Think Media is Sean Cannell, so he has his own channel as well, where he will also talk about content creation. At the time, there were these two ladies. One person was named Sunny Sunny Lenarduzzi, and another person was Vanessa Lau. They had really great content about YouTube. Now, those are the people that I kind of came up with because they were really popular at the time. There are a ton of other content creators out there who just talk about YouTube and how to grow on YouTube and how to start your YouTube channels. And what I suggest is searching for those topics on YouTube. How do I start my YouTube channel? Watch as much content as you can, and you'll start to find the content creators that you vibe with the most. Again, the people that I listed were the people that I just vibed with. I like the way that they presented their information. I like their general vibe, and that's why I listened to a lot of their content. And I just kind of let the content wash over me. I didn't know what they were talking about 99% of the time, but the more I listened, the more information I was able to retain. And when it came time to finally sit down and start my own YouTube channel, I realized, man, I actually know a lot more about this than I thought I did. A lot of it just kind of came naturally to me because of what I already knew from watching so much YouTube on how to YouTube. Now, learning information like that worked really well for me. I just kind of watched videos based on what I was interested in learning about that day. One day I would learn about what makes a good thumbnail, and the next video that I watched would be about how to get monetized as quickly as possible, and then I would watch a video about how to find your target audience. Like, I would just kind of jump around, and that worked for me. I think it worked for my kind of ADHD brain. Some of you might be thinking to yourselves, that sounds awful. I just want a step-by-step, beginning to end, with checklists approach. I want someone to hold my hand through the entire process of starting my YouTube channel. And the great news about that is if that's what you want and you're willing to invest a little bit of money, a lot of the people that I mentioned, and then some, there are so many content creators out there who have done this. So many people have created courses on how to start your YouTube channel. They will hold your hand and they will take you step by step with screenshots and screen videos of how to do all of the things that you need to do when it comes to starting your YouTube channel. But I learned how to do everything by myself with all of the free content that there is online. So there's multiple ways to do it, but if you're feeling overwhelmed, the good news is the information is out there. You just have to go consume it. Another aspect of YouTube that I think people find extremely challenging is how to edit videos. I will admit this was something that I was initially very scared of. But for me, again, I had a little bit of a leg up because as a music teacher, I have done a lot with digital audio workspaces, on software like GarageBand. Since I was an undergrad, maybe even earlier than that, maybe when I was in high school, I would make recordings of myself singing. I would layer harmonies. I would layer instruments. And I would go in and make little tweaks. I would cut out mistakes, and just kind of through trial and error, I learned how to cut out mistakes, how to, make this part of my voice louder, how to eliminate some of those like S's and P's that would pop. When I started teaching, I started recording my ensembles and making those same kind of edits. I would make practice tracks for my students, and so I would sit there and record myself singing all of the voice parts. And I learned how to pay attention to the sound waves and where to make the cuts. And, I had some experience with editing sound. When it came to editing video, I found that it wasn't very different, especially when it comes to just the cut and dry of just eliminating the parts of the video that you don't want. That's all I do for my podcast episodes and videos. I don't do any extra editing. I don't do any zooms or, find little fun clips online to insert into the videos. It is just cutting out my sneezes, the times that I stop to get a drink of water. I don't want to waste anyone's time and make them wait for me to do those things. So I will cut those things out. And I learned enough from editing sound in order to at least do that much for my YouTube videos. But with each video that I would edit, I would just kind of push myself to do a little more. I would figure out how to add text to the video. I would figure out how to incorporate memes and GIFs, or do you say GIFs? I don't know which one it is still. I would find ways to take clips from TV shows or movies that perfectly fit that moment of the video. I learned how to incorporate B-roll. I learned how to incorporate music. And with each video, the goal was to get better and stronger and faster and more efficient with my editing. And I do feel like if you watch my videos today, they are much better than my videos from when I first started, because I just figured out how to do a lot more. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's great, Becky. Like, I'm glad you had that experience with editing sound for your choirs and for yourself. I don't have any experience. I don't know even where to begin when it comes to video editing. Again, if you want to edit your own videos, you could turn to YouTube, and there are so many videos on how to edit YouTube videos. You could take a course from somebody who is well versed in your video editing software of choice. I honestly just use iMovie, but there are a ton of video editing softwares out there, and you could take a course specific to the software that you want to use. Or, and this is the route that a lot of people choose to take, you could decide to simply hire a video editor. Now, like I said, I started my YouTube channel in 2019, and I edited all of my own content up until last summer, so summer of 2024. There were a couple videos here and there, maybe in like 2020, 2021, where I had a former student, where I did have a former student edit a few videos. That was short-lived, mainly because we just didn't have the ability to transfer such large files back and forth. And it wasn't something that I wanted to invest a lot of money in at the time. And so I only had her edit, like I said, 3 or 4 videos. But last summer, I did bite the bullet, and I decided to hire a video editor just because I recognized that I needed to take something off of my plate. And my video editor is probably a little bit more expensive than other video editors that you can find, simply because he's based in the United States. He's someone that I actually know, and I pay him a fair wage for the work that he does. I think I pay him around $35 an hour, if I'm not mistaken. And the truth is, if you want to go on Fiverr, or if you want to find a video editor overseas, or if you want to work with a video editing firm or company, they have people that will just pump out videos. They'll edit your videos so fast, and you don't have to pay them very much. I just can't speak to the quality. And the only reason I know this is because when I decided that I wanted to hire on a video editor, I actually posted on my Facebook, my personal Facebook, that I was looking for a video editor. Did anyone know one? Were any of my Facebook friends video editors and looking for steady work? The amount of spam comments that I got from people who definitely aren't like my Facebook friends, but just people who have saved searches for video editor on Facebook. I got so many comments from people who worked for video editing firms and worked overseas as video editors, and their rates were super competitive, almost alarmingly so. Like, it was a bit of a red flag that they were so cheap. And I ended up going with the person that I did because I wanted to provide income for someone that I kind of knew, someone that I knew would do a good job for me, someone that I could go back and forth with on edits. And so even with paying that person around $35 an hour for each video, I end up paying him an average of like $75 to $125, $150. And my videos generally are like an average of 30 to 40 minutes long. So I feel comfortable paying that kind of money now because I've been at it for a while. I know how much revenue to expect on a monthly basis from my YouTube channel. And if you're willing to pay that cost, knowing that you're not making money yet from YouTube AdSense, by all means, go ahead and do it. But I do also think that most people can learn how to edit their own videos with the help of other YouTube videos about how to edit YouTube videos. The last thing that I'll talk about as far as a con is concerned with YouTube before we talk about the formula to get monetized within a year. People say, I don't have the equipment that I need in order to start a YouTube channel. I talked a little bit about this in my 3rd podcast episode, which was how to start a number of side hustles with $0. And I do think you can actually do that with YouTube. Right now, to be transparent, I do have a ring light. I have a nice Sony vlogging camera. I've got this nice Samson Q microphone. I have my laptop over here with GarageBand, which is picking up the sound from this microphone. I have a video editor right now. But when I started my YouTube channel, I started with my iPhone, which I already had. I started with my laptop, which I already had. It was an older, pretty crusty laptop, but it worked. And because it was a MacBook, it had iMovie on it already for free. So my video editing software was free. And if you don't have a MacBook, there are actually free video editing softwares that you can use online as well. Some of them are pretty limited, but that's what you get with free, but you can still edit entire YouTube videos with them. And I would just park myself in front of a window with as much natural light as possible. And I made YouTube videos like that for a minimum of 2 years. I think it was 2 years that I filmed on my iPhone before investing money in my Sony vlogging camera. And I was able to get monetized with those videos. I was able to build up my audience to at least 10,000 subscribers with those videos. I was able to accomplish a lot with just my iPhone. And so while you can drop some serious money before even filming your first video, if you want to, you don't have to. And you can still make really engaging, really powerful content that people want to consume with just your phone. So let's talk about the requirements that you need to meet in order to get monetized on YouTube, because that's the whole point, right, of starting a YouTube channel, is that hopefully one day you will make money from the content that you upload onto YouTube. So in order to get monetized, you need to have at least 1,000 subscribers and you need to have at least 4,000 watch hours in the span of 12 months. Or if you are somebody that creates a lot of shorts, like a lot of those vertical videos that tend to be a little bit shorter, they're not long form content. If you have 10 million valid shorts views in the past 90 days, you can also qualify for YouTube monetization. So let's break that down a little bit. 1,000 subscribers, that's pretty easy to understand. You just need to have 1,000 subscribers. And they could be people that hit subscribe and they never watch one of your videos. It could be your mom, it could be your neighbor. You could create 5 different YouTube accounts and subscribe to your YouTube channel. As long as you have 1,000 people who have subscribed to your YouTube channel, you have checked one of the requirement boxes in order to get your YouTube channel monetized. The pieces that are a bit harder are the 4,000 watch hours or the 10 million views on your shorts. Let's talk about shorts first really quickly. I did not get monetized through shorts. I do create shorts content. I don't think that my shorts content is the type of shorts content that would allow me to get monetized if I were to try getting monetized today. Maybe if I exclusively created shorts content and posted multiple shorts a day, maybe I could get there. But with how I incorporate shorts into my uploading schedule right now, definitely not the way that it would work. But essentially what 10 million views in 90 days means is it means if you start your journey today, if you upload a short onto YouTube today, they are going to start counting how many views you get over the course of the next 90 days on all of the shorts from this day forth. And it's cumulative, right? So it's all of the views that you get on all of your shorts combined. But let's say today is day 90 and you have 9 million views on your shorts. What's going to happen is on day 91, you're going to lose all of the views from this first day when you uploaded your first short. Those views get subtracted. You still get to keep all of the views from the last 89 days. So it's like a rolling 90 days, if that makes sense. And so in order for you to be able to get 10 million views on your shorts in the next 90 days, you're going to have to do one of two things or a combination of the two. One, you're going to need to upload just a ton of shorts videos in the next 90 days. I'm talking multiple videos a day. Or you're going to need to create the types of shorts that go viral, that get by themselves thousands upon thousands of views, tens of thousands of views, ideally millions of views. And you're going to have to replicate those kinds of videos over and over again. You're going to need to have multiple videos that go viral. Obviously, the way to ensure monetization within 90 days is to do both, is to upload a ton of content and to have all of that content go as viral as possible, to get as many views as possible. And that's hard to do when you're first starting out because you're trying to figure out, like, how do I YouTube? And so unless you just get shorts figured out really quickly, I feel like this is going to be a difficult way to get monetized on YouTube. So if we look at the other requirement, which is 4,000 watch hours on YouTube within the span of 1 year. So again, if you have 3,999 hours of watch time and it's that 365th day, and now we go into day 366, what's going to happen is you're going to lose all of the hours from the first day of your YouTube channel, but you'll still have all of the watch hours from the past 364 days. So let's break this number down. 4,000 watch hours means that you need 333.33 watch hours per month. That is the same thing as 20,000 minutes. So you need people to watch 20,000 minutes worth of your content per month. So let's say you wanted to commit to uploading one video a week. That means each video you upload needs to get at least 5,000 hours of watch time. That means if you get 20 minutes of watch time on a particular video, you need at least 250 people to watch each of those videos. So again, the math says 250 people need to watch 20 minutes of your video each week. But what that means for me is the video probably needs to be at a minimum 30 minutes long, because the chances of 250 people watching the entirety of your video from beginning to end when you're first starting out your YouTube channel is pretty small. And the truth is, if you have a 20-minute video that most people are watching the entirety of, that video is probably going to go viral because it means it's a great video. YouTube is going to recognize that your video is actually keeping people on the platform for the entire length of your video, and they're going to be like, this is a great video, we need to show more people this video, and they're going to promote it like crazy because of the average watch time on that video. And that's why I say it's most likely not going to happen, because that is a pretty incredible feat to get that high of a percentage of viewers to watch that high of a percentage of your video. And for that reason, if you're trying to upload one video a week and you're hoping to get 250 people to watch at least 20 minutes of that video, I would suggest that you actually upload a 30, 35, 40-minute video and hope that at least 250 people will watch 20 minutes of that video. Now, for the sake of full transparency, that is not how I got my channel monetized. I think at the very beginning of my YouTube journey, I was publishing 2 to 3 videos a week. The majority of my videos were like 40 minutes. Some of them were an hour long. And a lot of it had to do with the kind of content that I was creating. I was doing haul videos. I would go thrifting and show everything that I sold. Those kinds of videos were easily like 45 minutes to an hour long. I was doing what sold videos once a week, where I shared everything that sold for me over the past week. Those videos averaged, 25 to 45 minutes. I was doing tips and tricks type videos, like how to sell on Poshmark or how to run sales on eBay. Those videos could be 20 to 30 minutes long. So I had longer videos, and I was uploading 2 to 3 of them a week. And when I first started my channel, I was lucky to get like 50, 60 views per video. But even just, a handful of weeks in, being as consistent as I was starting to notice that I was getting an average of like 100 to 200 views per video. I was getting, at some point, 500 views to 1,000 views per video. And I especially noticed that my tips and tricks type videos, the kinds of videos with titles that literally mirrored what many people were probably typing into the search bar of YouTube, videos titled things like how to sell on Poshmark, how to make more money on eBay. Those are the types of things that I think people literally type into Google search, YouTube search, and as a result, my video would spit out as a search result, and I was starting to get like 2,000 views per video. And this was within the first year of reselling, and that's how I was able to get monetized as quickly as I did. I just had this tenacious drive to produce, and the number of videos, and the fact that my videos, I think, again, were exactly what people in my niche were looking for. I think that that's what helped me get as many views as I did. I do think that I got the number of subscribers I needed before I got the watch time. I think most people find that it's easier to get the 1,000 subscribers than it is the 4,000 hours of watch time, because like I said earlier, you can ask the most random people to subscribe to your YouTube channel, but if they don't sit there and watch your videos, if they don't contribute to that 4,000 hours of watch time, then it's impossible to get that second and most crucial box checked for your list of requirements in order to get monetized on YouTube. But because I was increasing the number of videos, I was increasing the length of the videos, and I was making sure to upload videos that I thought people in my niche would be interested in seeing, that's how I was able to get monetized so quickly. So we're gonna end by talking about just a few tips that I have for those of you who are nervous about starting your YouTube channel and you don't know what to do. Here are my first few tips, okay? The first thing I would say is just hit record. Just get started and just trust that your first few videos, your first 50 videos are just going to be so cringy. Like you will look back and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's how I sounded. I can't believe that was the intro of my video. I can't believe X, Y, and Z. Your first attempts at anything are never going to be your best work. So just get those first attempts out of the way, knowing that they are going to be what they are. The second thing I would suggest is try a little of everything. Like I said, when I first started, I was uploading tips and tricks videos, haul videos, what sold videos, vlogs. I was just doing anything and everything to kind of figure out, one, what kind of content did I enjoy creating? And two, what kind of content did people respond well to? And I doubled in on especially what people responded well to. The truth is, I actually really enjoy creating vlog style videos, but historically, the data has proven on my YouTube channel that people don't really care for them. Like, that's not why they tune in to watch my YouTube channel. So I can keep churning them out if I want, but it's going to be a lot of work and effort on my end that doesn't get rewarded with views and therefore income. And with shorts being a thing now, like I said, when I first started my YouTube channel, shorts were not really a thing. I would also try uploading shorts. Maybe you find that your mind is masterful at figuring out how to create 30 seconds of really entertaining and informative content in ways that your mind just has a harder time doing with long form content. And maybe for you, it's going to be really easy for you to monetize with 10 million views on your shorts than it would be 4,000 watch hours on your other content. But try a little of everything just to see what clicks both here and with your audience. And my final tip would be, make sure you know who your audience is. Who is it that you're speaking to? What is your channel about? And who is your channel for? So again, with my reselling YouTube channel, I really do try to cater my YouTube channel towards people who are like myself, people who are working full time, but trying to use any hours that they have outside of their full-time job to earn money reselling used clothing. And I just kind of imagine another woman on the other side of my screen who is a similar age as me, who comes from a similar lifestyle as me. And I just imagine on the other side of my camera, a woman who's similar to me, a similar age, maybe has a family. I am not trying to reach everyone in the world. I'm not trying to reach the high schooler who's looking for a part-time job, as well as someone in her 60s or 70s in her retirement who's just trying to make a little extra money with the extra time that she has in her retirement. But even though I'm not speaking directly to those people, I really have this specific avatar in mind. When I look at my YouTube analytics and all of the data that they give me, I find that there are 16-year-old kids watching my channel, as well as 70-year-old women in their retirement. And that's what's so cool is, even though you kind of narrow down your niche of who it is that you want your YouTube channel to be for, other people will find it and still enjoy your content. And that's amazing. Like, I have men who watch my channel. I have younger people, older people, it's people from all over the world. Some people who don't even resell, they just watch my content because they find it interesting. But you want to make sure that your content is clear and focused and intentional for a specific person, because as a lot of other YouTube gurus will say, if you try to reach everyone, you'll actually reach no one. So get a really strong handle on who it is that you're speaking to, who your YouTube channel is for. And if you can do those three things, just get started, just try lots of different kind of content and make sure that you know who you are speaking to. I think that you'll find your path to monetization much more enjoyable and maybe even faster than you thought it would be. I hope you enjoyed learning about my YouTube journey, and I hope you leave this episode feeling encouraged and feeling like you can start your YouTube channel, because I absolutely believe that you can. There is room for you on YouTube, believe it or not. Even if there are a ton of other people creating content, just like the kind of content that you want to create, your content doesn't exist yet. You are not on YouTube yet. And I promise you, there are people waiting for your voice, for your vision, for the kind of content that you're going to create. There are people just waiting for you to get started. So hurry up and do it. If you have any questions about YouTube, leave them down in the comments. Or if you're listening to the podcast, there's actually a way I think that you can text me your questions. So definitely leave comments however you can to get your questions my way. I will do my best to answer them. But I hope that if this is something that you've been thinking about, that this is the kick in the butt that you need to get started. Because YouTube has financially changed my life in ways that I could have never imagined. And that is my hope for you, that it would do the same for you and your family. So, from me to you, as always, thank you so much for being a teacher, for changing the lives of your students. And I hope that if YouTube is something that you want in your future as well, that you would finally take this as your sign to get started so that YouTube can change your life. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe or follow, and I will see you guys in the next one.